Hey, I'm Mac. Welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be looking at a podcast episode that was recommended to me to look at because of misleading medical claims that it potentially contains. And it is from Heidi Powell's podcast. Now, if you're like me and you persistently are oblivious to pop culture and you actively avoid encountering the news, you may have a question at the moment. And that question would be, who the hell is Heidi Powell? Heidi Powell is a fitness coach and kind of wellness influencer who is most well known for co hosting the reality TV show Extreme Weight Loss, which ran on ABC from 2011 to 2015 alongside her husband, Chris Powell. So, we're already off to a pretty rough start here. In May of 2020, Heidi and Chris Powell announced that they were going to be getting divorced. Hey, wait a minute. Wasn't there another couple of people who announced that they were getting divorced around that time? Yeah, that's right. In June of 2020, Rachel Hollis and Dave Hollis announced that they were going to be getting divorced, just hopping on the trend. Almost immediately afterward, Heidi and Dave began appearing in each other's social media posts, which was a development that was in no way a red flag, although they wouldn't officially announce their relationship until February 14th, Valentine's Day, 2021, which is also Dave's birthday. Tragically, Dave would pass away less than 2 years later as a result of holiday heart syndrome exacerbated by cocaine and fentanyl. Holiday heart syndrome is something that not many people tend to be aware of, but that they probably should be more aware of. And it describes the common occurrence of heart arrhythmias after a period of binge drinking. Typically, it's atrial fibrillation that is seen. Atrial fibrillation is where the left atrium and the right atrium, which, as their names suggest, are sort of the entryways of blood into the heart when it comes back from either the body or the lungs. And it's where they exhibit sort of an uncoordinated, unproductive, shivering type of movement rather than a really effective, coordinated squeeze to get that blood down into the ventricles, which is where it gets launched either out to the lungs or to the body. The sensation of atrial fibrillation tends to be like you kind of feel like your heart skipping a beat, sort of. Atrial fibrillation in and of itself is not an emergency, but it can lead to very serious problems like blood clots leading to a stroke, or it could lead to heart failure or other complications. Meta-analyses of multiple very large studies generally conclude that an estimated 30 to 60% of all atrial fibrillation is probably related to alcohol consumption, and heavy drinkers are over twice as likely to experience atrial fibrillation. I think that that's something that's very important to raise awareness of, because I think that people tend to focus on liver effects like cirrhosis when they think of the harms of alcohol, but it has some pretty serious effects on the heart as well. Yeah. Why am I bringing this up? Well, Heidi and Dave were constantly posting social media content and frequently exhibiting concerning erratic behavior that was not solely limited to Dave. So if you look at this graph that I've created, you can see how the pachyderm species concentration of rooms that Heidi Powell is in has increased significantly after Dave's tragic passing, and as the extent of his substance abuse was kind of laid bare, it kind of raises some questions. While no one is entitled to know what's going on with Heidi in that regard, in my opinion, it does call into question her level of transparency about the circumstances of her own wellness, which is pertinent given the fact that it is the basis upon which many have decided to become her customers. And it also calls into question her level of credibility, at least for the time being, on the topic of health, especially if the evidentiary basis she presents for her claims are her own supposed results. Am I speculating here? Yeah, I'm absolutely speculating here. However, even though I don't know for sure what she's up to, I'm speculating based on what I've observed before in myself and what I've observed before in others. So, I'm particularly concerned about the potential involvement of a particular substance that's known to be associated with a particular category of disorder. That's very concerning to me for both Heidi's well-being and for her family and for her audience's well-being as people who trust her words. I say these things because I want improvement for these people that I discuss, and I want the best for them and their families and the people who consume their content. I think the world would not stop if you took a break, Heidi. And Heidi, don't you ever blame any of us for what happened to Dave. How dare you? Don't you ever suggest that ever again. How fucking dare you? Unbelievable. That's all I'm going to say about that. She's joined on this podcast by Drew Manning, who is another fitness coach who is best known for his bizarre and in no way condescending fit to fat to fit experiment, I guess, in which he stopped working out and deliberately ate unhealthy foods for a while, resulting in him gaining 70 pounds, which he then lost by resuming his previous habits in the most insane level of dedication to proving a misguided belief in one's own moral superiority I've ever run across in my 34 years of living, which he ironically spins as having been his way to be more empathetic. Drew, the definition of empathy, okay, is being able to understand and connect with someone about what they're feeling and going through without, and this next part is key to it being empathy, without having had to have gone through it yourself, okay? Good Lord. If you hold the misguided belief that being quote unquote overweight is in and of itself some serious hazard or whatever, which I'm pretty sure that you do just based on your output or whatever, it's weird that you would do that to yourself voluntarily. That's not empathy. That's like a failure of empathy because you're failing to see that it's kind of offensive. You're failing to see how someone could find it offensive what you're doing there. If someone has melanoma, okay, you don't show up at the infusion center and get the same chemotherapy as them so that you can empathize with them about the side effects and, shit like that, okay? You listen to them talk about the hardships of what they're going through of such a serious diagnosis and such a harsh, treatment regimen that they have to get. And you support them by letting them know that you're there and that you hear them, and that you understand that it must be really awful. Okay, that's empathy. Okay, it's such a bizarre response to wanting to be more empathetic that you're like, okay, what do I do? I have to go, like, it's so weird. It's so weird. The point is, I've received a few requests to cover this podcast episode and the health claims. So we're going to take a listen, and as your favorite non-practicing pharmacist, I will give you my opinion on them based on my knowledge base and the evidence that I can find. We're not going to go through like all of it. I'm kind of just going to focus on like the medical shit of it, because there's probably a lot of nonsense in here. And I don't want to do as many like just like straight up like entire thing reactions. I don't know. We'll see. Let's go.
Hey there, I am Heidi Powell, and you have made it to Heidi's Lane. I am a mom of 4 beautiful kids, a health enthusiast.
Okay, I'm just waiting for the influencer who is, bold enough to be like, I'm a mother of 4 kids. They're all fucking hideous. I don't know where that came from. Okay, looking at their father. Okay, I should have picked better.
And an entrepreneur who, just like everybody else, is learning to navigate the joys, the grief, the love, the messes, and everything in between on this beautiful highway we call life. Now, nothing is off the table here in my lane, so I invite...
Why is there a table in your lane? I better get on Waze and put like object in road ahead.
You two cozy up, grab a cup of coffee, join me right here on my couch for real, raw, vulnerable conversation that hopefully helps you learn and grow through this journey with me. I am so grateful you are here. Welcome to Heidi's Lane.
I think Lane is either her middle name or her maiden name. I don't know which it is, but I'm pretty sure it's either her middle name or her maiden name. And so Heidi's Lane is like a pun.
Okay, so we're here, you guys. For those of you watching, you can see what's happening.
Oh, well, I'm so disappointed that I'm not watching then.
Yeah.
And you actually got a little bonus clip of us getting the IV put into my arm. And for those of you listening, I'm here with Drew Manning.
Oh boy, so we're already off to a rough start, but I can't wait to hear what they are getting an IV for. I'm sure it's extremely medically necessary and not wasteful at all.
You guys know Drew by now.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
I'm so excited that you're back.
I know. It's always good to be back.
We have needles in our arms.
Yeah.
Needles. No, we have a catheter in our arm. Not our
I do. She put in my arm. A catheter.
So did you know? I did not even know that that's how IVs worked until like a handful of years ago.
Yeah.
So it's a needle
to poke
that pokes through this
catheter.
So the catheter pops in when the needle, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was a needle with like a catheter around it or in it, and then the needle pulled out.
Yeah.
That's correct. I mean, it's not that weird to not know it, because like even if you've gotten an IV put in, like it still kind of feels like that you don't really see the needle go away, especially because most people, most nurses or PAs or doctors or whoever is putting the IV in you or phlebotomists or whatever, what have you, whoever's putting the IV in you is probably done it a million times before. And so they do it so quickly that you kind of don't really see it happen. Yeah. I mean, a catheter is just a small, flexible hose of any type, So yeah, like there's the needle and it pokes in, and then the catheter is in there, which is like just a small flexible plastic tube, and then they pull the needle out. Because like it wouldn't be great to have a needle just jammed in there all the time. You could poke all the way through the vein. It's just not great of an idea to have a sharp needle in there. So yeah, it's just a flexible tube. The needle just puts the hole in. So I guess now we're learning. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah. See, we don't know these things.
So a catheter, it's like there's a hose in our veins right now. And why are we doing this?
Usually it's a good question to have the answer to before you get an IV.
Well, you're the one who scheduled
like,
this for
me.
I'm like, I was told to show up and for an IV, pick an IV, which one you want.
Is this a normal experience between friends or something? Because I'm pretty sure if one of my friends was like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? You want to do something crazy? And then they asked me which IV I wanted to get. I would be like, pass.
I like doing IV therapy. It is.
Tell us why, Drew.
A great way to replenish your body with certain, vitamins or minerals that you're lacking, or if you're going through, you said you're trying to get rid of a virus, for example. There's all different types of applications for IVs, and it's a biohacking thing. It's pretty mainstream nowadays, and it's accessible.
Oh my God, biohacking. Okay, here's the thing. There's a principle in healthcare of if the gut works, use it. That it's better if someone can take something by mouth, it's better to do that than to do an IV for it. All right. Like, and sometimes, you do have to do an IV because you need to be hydrated faster, or because they're going to administer a medication that has to be done IV, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Or or they just want to be sure that you're staying hydrated or something, or there's an electrolyte imbalance or something like that, whatever. But these people act like they're sick. Healthy people, and I mean like healthy people as in not having some type of specific condition that necessitates having some type of therapy or testing done, do not need IV fluids, okay? It's all you're gonna do by getting an IV, and I don't know what they're getting in them yet, but all you're gonna do is have later the most expensive piss you've ever made, okay? Because you're gonna get probably too much fluid, more fluid than you needed, and you're just gonna piss it all out. And if you're getting one of those vitamin IVs or whatever, again, you're just gonna piss out the excess. Okay, your body only needs the amount of needs a very small amount of vitamins. Like that's what a vitamin is. It is a nutrient that your body only requires a very small amount of. You have macronutrients, which are like carbohydrates, proteins, fats. That's things that your body needs a lot of. And then there are micronutrients, which are like vitamins, minerals, that your body really only needs like a little bit of. So like, and it's not like you don't get like extra points for having more of it generally. I don't understand. And these therapies are expensive to get, by the way. They're very expensive. I think they're at least a couple $100s to get IV, vitamins and minerals for no medical purpose. And I would be willing to bet that none of these people are doing a test beforehand to see if they're actually deficient in any of these vitamins. I guess they just assume that they are because they don't, I don't know, they're like hypochondriacs or something, or they just need to feel like they're doing something. You don't need an IV for like it. Drink water, because guess what? If the gut works, use it. Drink the water, and then you can take a vitamin if you really need to. You probably don't, but if it makes you feel better, then just do it. I don't get this at all. And just like, I don't know, it's probably not great to have stuff stuck into you all the time.
This is a mobile
operation
that comes to your house. Yeah, they come to your house and they do it for you.
How much does that cost? Very relatable. Let me know how good this is, and I'll call Zurich and move some money around.
Nice and convenient. I mean, how cool is that? Instead of going into
It's not cool. It's pretty lame, and it's kind of wasteful.
To a doctor's office and sitting there and
that's the thing.
We're
So
podcasting while we're getting IV.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Like,
I guess they think that we find the concierge doctor they clearly must be using if they can just go in and order the IVs in the doctor's offices that they want relatable or something. That's not how the rest of our doctors work, Heidi and Dave, or Heidi and Drew. Okay, I almost said Dave. Oops. That's not how our doctor's offices work, Heidi and Drew.
I knew that I had. So here's the deal.
What's the deal?
I knew that I had to get an IV. Well, let me just explain why.
Yeah.
Through all this.
Well, see, for the rest of us, our doctors know when we need an IV, not us.
Health testing that I've been getting done to figure out what's going on in my body.
Yeah, what's going on with your body?
I don't.
Oh boy, I have a feeling about where she's going with this, and I'll make my point later.
I don't think that there's any cancer. We're actually doing a biopsy on Tuesday. Finally, I mean, I've been in now. This will be my third attempt for a biopsy, and this guy thinks he can get it, but my lymph nodes are so wrapped in vessels, so tightly wrapped, that it's a risk, right, to go in with a needle and try and get something out. So 30.
Yeah. This is part of the thing, this is the thing, is like medical procedures, including tests, are not risk-free. And so you have to consider what's the likelihood of you having cancer against the likelihood of this test being harmful, and how much will the test benefit you in the event that it is positive? Like, will it actually extend your life? Will it actually impact the way treatment would go for you? Because it might not. And, that's why it sounds like this provider was resistant to just willy-nilly doing this risky test. But these people, they don't listen.
Attempt is Tuesday.
Okay.
Just to rule out cancer for sure, like lymphoma, because
Okay, you can never rule out cancer for sure.
Because there's one lymph node for certain that just won't go down, and then the rest of them continue to pop up and like get inflamed very easily. So my body's not detoxifying on its own.
What does detoxifying have to do with lymphoma? I don't understand that connection.
We know that. So like, for example, in this IV, I'm doing extra glutathione. I take extra glutathione during the day because that's like a master detoxifier. I'm taking this thing called DIM. Have you?
Okay, first of all, Glutathione by mouth doesn't do anything because it gets destroyed when it goes through your digestive system. Second of all, there's no evidence that's really been conducted on IV glutathione as like a supplement. So it's anybody's guess what it does, really. Usually, if you're trying to supplement glutathione, it's often done by mouth there's a supplement called N-acetylcysteine, which actually it has some evidence that it's beneficial, sort of. It's very shaky, as it is with every supplement, pretty much. But basically, because glutathione gets destroyed it gets destroyed by your digestion, you kind of have to do something that turns into glutathione in the body, which is N-acetylcysteine. N-acetylcysteine is also often given in a Tylenol overdose. Do you see what I mean here? Like, I don't see what the connection is between detoxifying and lymphoma. And I don't see how glutathione is going to detoxify your lymph nodes or make it less likely for you to have lymphoma. I don't understand that. She's like correct in that glutathione has a detoxifying function. However, I'm not seeing the next leap that she's making there. I don't understand that. And there's no evidence that glutathione IV might be beneficial. It might not. It's anyone's guess. But there's no evidence there's no conclusive evidence about it. So who knows? Pretty expensive.
Heard of DIM, which is supposed to help your body convert estrogen.
DIM is diindolyl methane. It seems to behave as like an estrogen modulator, which means that it does seem like it actually does something. But here's the thing is it occurs naturally in cruciferous vegetables, which are things like Brussels sprouts, kale, broccoli, cabbage, radishes, cauliflower, bok choy, tat choy, rutabaga, arugula, wasabi, cauliflower, collard greens. And it's kind of a cardinal rule that like, if you can obtain something as part of a food, then it's better to do that than to take it as a supplement, especially because with this one, there could be some pretty intense side effects, at least as far as a supplement is considered. Because if you're modulating estrogen levels of various types of estrogens, that's going to be a pretty dramatic effect. However, it seems that those side effects really seem to occur more with the supplements, where you're getting like abnormally high levels of it. Whereas if you naturally kind of increase it in the diet, it's a little bit more of a subtle effect over time. And it doesn't seem to have any like intense side effects with it. Yeah. Also, those supplements, like a DIM supplement, that would be something to be very concerned about, where your estrogen levels are going to be particularly of concern. So that would be something to be aware of. So if you're trying to get pregnant, if you are pregnant, you would definitely want to perhaps talk to your OBGYN before starting a DIM supplement. They're fine. But if you're actually taking like a tablet of it, that would be something that to probably get some medical counsel on first. Just if you're screwing with the estrogen levels, that could do all kinds of things.
Properly, it gets rid of the bad estrogen, or helps convert the potentially dangerous estrogen into a good conversion process, and then helps increase your estradiol, which is like the healthy estrogen.
So my understanding is that DIM facilitates the metabolism of estradiol, so getting it converted into weaker forms of estrogen. Like estradiol is a pretty strong estrogen, and it facilitates reducing the levels of that strong estrogen and sort of thereby increasing the levels of the weaker ones. And so that's another point that I should have made there, that it could be a concern if you're taking one of these supplements. There could be a concern about it reducing the effectiveness of an oral contraceptive, because those are usually estradiol. is usually part of that formulation in there. So it would be a concern that it could reduce that effectiveness if it is inducing the metabolism of that drug, which I think is irresponsible to not mention here when you're recommending DIM supplements. But whatever. It's super weird that well, it's not weird. It's understandable when you think about it, but that estradiol is practically over the counter, but testosterone is a Schedule 3 controlled substance. Oh boy.
Until we figure out what's happening, I'm detoxifying like crazy. We also did find out that I have...
You got the crazy part, right?
Epstein-Barr. I think I've talked about it on the...
Everybody has Epstein-Barr virus. Epstein-Barr virus it's what causes mono. And it's 90% of people have been infected with Epstein-Barr virus. It just hides in your genes. Isn't that fun?
Podcast. Yeah. I knew that I had it a few years ago. So obviously I have the antibodies or whatever, but I was in a full bout of it a month and a half ago.
Wow.
That's concerning because that suggests that your immune system is weak. So that would be worth, finding out why that is, Heidi.
And that's good for me because I'm okay, that means that there's a reason why my body, the lymph nodes are swollen.
But it's not good because most of the, if you're not having any health issues or any health conditions, the Epstein-Barr virus shouldn't be able to reactivate. So if it's able to reactivate, that suggests that there is some type of problem that is weakening your immune system.
So my doctor, one of my many doctors, is okay, we're going to do a high...
Why do you need so many doctors, Heidi?
High dose of vitamin C.
Ugh. I mean, go crazy, whatever. It's not going to do anything. It doesn't do anything. If my doctor suggested a high dose of vitamin C, I would fucking leave. I would be like, can I get my records, please?
With glutathione.
Again, I would be like, yeah, can I just get a printout of my records so that I can...
Every week for a handful of weeks.
For how much? Sounds like a pretty profitable venture.
Oh, wow.
To help
so you do this every week?
I have been.
Wow.
I have been. This is supposed to be my last one.
Okay.
It sounds like it's really helping.
And so it was scheduled and you're in town.
Yeah.
Because tonight, what are we doing tonight?
Ooh, I'm super excited for this. We are doing breath work plus cold plunge plus sauna in a healing environment at a place called Reconnect in Mesa, which you introduced me to. And we went there yesterday.
It's amazing.
And it was a really cool experience. And I'm excited for people because we have 20-ish people coming each night.
We're a little oversold each night.
Well, it's sold out so quickly.
Yeah.
That's you barely posted it to your stories, and we had, within a couple of days, it was sold out.
Yeah.
So
I can't. I'm trying to imagine paying money for the privilege of being locked in a hot room, and then jumping into cold water with Drew and Heidi. Also, isn't it amazing how I don't do any of these things, and yet it would seem that I'm equally, if not more healthy than these people? Yeah, even without the glutathione, you guys, and without IV hydration, I put water into the hole in my face, actually. I know, it's a bit of a revolutionary concept.
So I think people are really interested in these healing modalities of breath work plus cold.
Healing what? What are you trying to heal?
Plunge plus sauna to help them on their journey because we all go through hard stuff in life.
Yeah.
I don't understand this.
Yeah.
I think having tools or modalities to help people deal with, their traumas or challenges that they...
How does a sauna help people deal with trauma? Explain that one to me. I know how breath work or meditation or mindfulness could, but I don't understand how a cold plunge or whatever does.
They've been through that they've never experienced before. A lot of these people are have reached out and said they're nervous about the breath work.
And the cold plunge. Yeah.
Yes, they're nervous about it because it's the unknown. It's the fear of the unknown. But they've heard about, breath work, or they've heard about the benefits of cold plunge. And it's really cool because people are open to trying something that's out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, I love what you're saying. And I'm sitting here because I had an IV planned for myself, my third one, and you're in town for this. And I'm like, I know I want to get a podcast in with you because there's so much we can talk about around what's happening tonight. That's what this episode is going to be, you guys. Like, we're going to dive into what we're doing tonight, how we found these modalities of healing, because they're so powerful for everybody and have completely changed my life.
Yeah.
Heidi, explain to me how your life would be different without these modalities. Like, I'm serious. Like, how would your life be different? I mean, it's amazing that I'm surviving, isn't it? Good Lord. And it's like, okay, unless you have some type of condition that requires, a type of, treatment or whatever, or a disease or a disorder or a genetic difference or something, or you're sick, unless any of those are true, it's the stuff you need to do for your body to stay healthy. It's just not that complicated. It's just not. You need to eat right, meaning don't eat things with added sugar. Try to eat things that don't have a nutrition facts label, like whole foods, fruits, vegetables, lean meats, or even cut out meat, so like, trying to avoid processed and especially ultra processed foods, and always avoiding sugar sweetened beverages. Don't drink too much, and don't smoke. Get enough sleep. Like, it's not that. Oh, and exercise. That's really it. Unless you have some type of condition or a disease, or you're sick, or you have a genetic difference or something that necessitates additional care. Other than that, it's just not that complicated. It really isn't. It's just not. You don't need that much. It's all the simple, boring shit that you've been told 1,000 times before. And there's a reason you've been told it 1,000 times, because it's just fucking true.
And just educate. And so anyway, I was like, okay, I have Anna coming at 11:30. Drew, can you come over at 11:30 and do, let's do an IV and a podcast?
I think it's cool. I think it's way cool that we're doing IV and a podcast. This is my first experience.
Is it?
Yeah, doing both
so
combined.
So last week I did ketamine and a podcast.
Ooh,
yeah.
While you're on ketamine?
No, that would have been amazing.
I was going to say.
I was in Utah.
How are you able to function?
Yeah, I would have listened to that one.
You're just like passed out. Like,
no, but that actually would be very interesting. Maybe.
Do you think you could talk through it?
If we did a low dose, so I usually go 50, I think 50, whatever it is. I don't know if it's grams.
I got nauseous when I did it.
They give you a Zofran there.
They gave me something, but it didn't. This is so super embarrassing. Luckily, it wasn't on camera. But I was in the experience, and also I felt like after like 30, 40 minutes, I felt like this nauseousness come over me, and I felt like, oh, I'm going to puke.
No.
But I didn't have full function in my body yet.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it was weird. I was like, oh, shoot, like I'm going to throw up. And I was like trying to talk to my girlfriend at the time, like, help. And I was like, I couldn't really function or talk. But I think she could kind of tell, oh, he's going to throw up. And like the doctor rushed in and like took the IV off. And I was just like,
Did you end up throwing up?
No, but it was like dry heaving. And it was the weirdest.
I'm telling you guys, these healing modalities, as Heidi glowingly recommends a Schedule 3 controlled substance.
Experience. But
how long ago was that?
That was like, well, at least.
So I was trying to figure out which girl. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's in Utah. So what?
That was 4+ years ago.
Why is everyone doing ketamine here? Get out.
Years ago.
Yeah,
4.5 years ago, maybe.
So did you only do it that one time?
I haven't done it since then.
Okay,
but I'm open to it. I just don't think.
Why would you be open to doing that again?
I don't know if I want to do the IV drip or like there's a bolus where you just totally pass out.
What?
Right? Like a high dose where you kind of like.
I don't like that.
Well, it is anesthesia. Like it is.
It's an anesthetic, but it's a dissociative anesthetic. Like it's not like you don't pass out from it. It's more of you dissociate, but it's not going to cause you to go unconscious. That would be something that's a different type of anesthesia. This is a dissociative anesthetic. It's not like propofol or something. Like relax.
It is used for
surgery,
so it does make you pass out if you get
in animals.
Give a large dose. But there's also like nasal sprays I've heard that are lower dose.
Really?
And it kind of gives you like a microdose. So I don't know. I'm open to trying.
Interesting.
Yeah, maybe that's why you barfed.
Yeah, I had done 3 treatments. That was my 3rd one. Okay. And so we got the podcast.
After the ketamine.
No, I did it before. So Corey, I was introducing what it was.
Yeah.
And Corey, I'm like, that's really warm. Whatever you're touching me with, it's your hand. It's Anna's hand.
Hey, you beat.
Boy, I mean, I'm glad that Heidi's developing object permanence, but I didn't expect it to come this late. Yeah, no, ketamine can be useful for things like depression or anxiety or whatever. I just think it's a little bit flippant to be like kind of discussing it this way on this podcast. I just think that's a little bit, I feel like there should be like some kind of disclaimer after that or something.
Wow.
Am I done?
I wish.
Wow. My body's just...
Your body's like, oh, sorry.
You're screwing this up, Drew.
So I'm so used to just flexing all the time. I'm like, oh, I just relaxed my arm. Okay. There we go.
Yeah, I am going fast. That's really awesome.
Okay. So
okay. So yeah, anyway, this is the 2nd time I've done a needle in my arm during the podcast. Yeah. Both healing, one like the ketamine.
That we know of.
Ketamine is obviously super healing.
Yeah.
For me, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. This is a physical.
I still think it's very weird for her to just be glowingly recommending a Schedule 3 controlled substance. Just flippantly on a podcast without any type of disclaimer, without any type of maybe ask your doctor if it's right for you,
Cool thing. I love that we're actually doing an IV drip for our physical.
I don't. I think it's super wasteful. And I think that a lot of people who are listening to this are then going to shell out money that they don't have for treatment that they can't afford and don't need. There's enough unnecessary medical treatment in this country.
Well, health.
Yeah.
During a podcast that is about something for holistic health.
Yes.
Because
So that's about all they get into in terms of the things that are in my wheelhouse specifically, although there are a couple more things that I want to cover. It's a little bit of a thing I just want to make some points about, whether it's good or bad, safe, dangerous, whatever. Okay. So take a listen to this part.
Know that now. And when you sleep, to tape your mouth shut as long as you're not congested, but as long as you can breathe through your nose, you do this like silicone tape to keep your mouth shut. Okay. So it forces your body to breathe through your nose, where you breathe more efficiently and effectively through your nose, more oxygen gets in. And, we have these filtering systems in our nose, and we're supposed to breathe through our noses, not our mouths. Yes. And when you become a mouth breather, that's what causes a lot of things like asthma, and it causes a lot of breathing issues for people. And because there's those filters through your mouth aren't there.
That's scary.
It is.
If you have sleep apnea, you probably shouldn't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely check with your doctor, or if you're congested.
Yeah, I don't know that it causes asthma. I think asthma is probably something unrelated to that, just because I don't see why, because asthma has been increasing in prevalence, right? And I don't see why sleeping with your mouth agape would be increasing in prevalence. Definitely something to talk to your doctor about if you have some type of breathing problem. And probably what I would recommend if you're wanting to try this mouth taping thing is probably try it for like half an hour, like before bed, like before you go to sleep, so that you can kind of see like how it feels before you go to sleep, and kind of train yourself to breathe through your nose, before you go unconscious, Yeah. But apparently it can help. But definitely just consider any conditions that you have, and probably try it while you're awake first. And then after that, the rest of it is just kind of a bunch of bullshit about breath work, and how breath work is a psychedelic, actually. I know, I didn't know either. Good Lord. So yeah, that's about it. Some housekeeping points. Wow, could I be more articulate? If you didn't know that I have a second channel, I do. Actually, I have a second and a third channel. They're much more minor than this one. I have a music channel at Millimeters of Mercury. I'm also on Spotify and Apple Music at Millimeters of Mercury. If you want to watch my bird feeder cam, it's at youtube.com/@MattKazelka/live. If you would like to submit a thing like this podcast episode, or any type of like medical scam or scientific bullshit or scam products, MLM presentations, new developments, influencer scams especially, I'm especially interested in right now, send those over. You can send them at macattack.net/submit. I think that covers everything. Or you can email me at mac@macattack.net. And my name has a K in it, so that's important if you're sending an email. Yeah. Am I missing anything? No, I don't think so. The next video is going to be coming up sooner than this one was. I'm sorry. It was like kind of a crazy month this past month, like kind of crazy good, but it prevented me from doing as many uploads as I would like to do. But yeah, we're going to be into like a little bit of shorter videos, but like a little bit more frequent. But there's not going to be one next week because my dad is going to be visiting me here in Salt Lake City, and we're going to be out and about. All right. All right, everybody. I've been Mac. Peace out. Bye.